Go live. Yeah. I think, yep. Blap, blap, blip, blap, bloop. All right, we're live. Yeah, there we go. Welcome to another live stream with Justin from ampsandsound. So I think we're going to have a pretty fun little chat about, we wanted to talk about Axpona, your latest adventures in Chicago, and maybe we can discuss some of the other shows you've been to and some of your upcoming products, and then we can dive into just random chat after that. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to keep it balanced, man, because I thought there was some cool stuff I saw, and
And
I
I have
wanted,
notes from before to talk about.
um, and I wanted to kind of offer people some cool things and some cool ideas because I think that audio, enjoying music and enjoying gear
Hmm.
happens on a lot of different levels,
Yeah,
and we shouldn't forget that. And
agreed.
I try to always think about like how to make it accessible on a lot of different levels.
Hmm.
So
And that's actually a big thing, right? Like, sorry, I was being distracted, but like that's um, getting lost in the chase a little bit, right? Like some people get to a certain point in their journey of audiophile dragon seeking hunting, um, where they forget about the fact that they started here at some point, right at bottom, right where they had no idea what they're doing, they had no clue. Uh, oh, I'm gonna buy these random headphones, and oh, they sound like knives in my ears, or no, they're overly, and they have to explore and grow, and they seek out forums or groups or what have you, and they start to grow and they experience more, they buy more, they push here or there. But anyways, I think that's part of the journey of this hobby of ours that we're in, and for you, business. And I think, yeah, like having that ability to kind of hit different, I guess, SKUs or SKUs, right, at different levels, and when it's worth it for as a business person like yourself, in the space. And I'd say you're actually like a small business. I wouldn't even like, right, like not in a mean way. Like I'm not meaning that in like a negative. I'm saying like you're like what, one man team with a couple other guys on your team for helping with the builds and what have you, right? But you're,
yep.
I mean,
I mean, so like how to put this? Because we're not supposed to talk about numbers. My wife would stab me if I did that.
true story.
No, like the most we've ever made has been about 200 amps in a single year. We average somewhere between about 100 to 120 amps a year.
Hmm.
Like to stay under 150. Um, we're a small company, and why we get to build so many different amplifiers, though, is because transformers are sort of universal widgets. In We get to share components because the transformers can be interchanged between different amplifiers, and so
And also, you're
you.
addicted to building these things. Come on.
Oh, well, no, I mean, I enjoy building them more. I enjoy building and designing them more than in almost any other aspect of it. I enjoy the building.
Yeah,
Um, like that's,
especially
I mean, I,
speakers.
oh, I mean, I enjoy building speakers like it's a fucking crack habit. Excuse my language,
You're good.
but
I
I
put I
enjoy
put
building.
non children, so you're good.
All right, so let's back into this slightly differently. So one of the topics I came up with that I wanted to
Sorry.
talk
Yeah.
about. So to dovetail into 2 points. So you
Hmm.
brought up something about accessing audio at different levels and moving through the journey differently.
Hmm.
So I will tell you that Axpona was really interesting in that it let me see enjoying audio components from really accessible, if you know what you were trying to look for, to insanely expensive. And I can tell you that I found things at both ends of the spectrum that I was completely in love with. And can share ideas on both ends of the spectrum. And Expona was intimidating and probably too big for me because I felt somewhat I'm too small a person, too small, or I'm too small a company.
As I say, a person, you're a pretty big guy.
Yeah, too small a company. Uh, I mean, it's huge. It's like 200 rooms.
Hmm.
Uh, like people have been there for eons. It is the trade show for the U.S.
Hmm.
But yet it's also a consumer show.
Hmm.
And so I think at some levels it doesn't do either one as well as it should, because I think it could do things to make it a better trade show, like have a trade show specific day would make it a
Mm,
lot better for people in the industry.
got it.
Like
D-
making Friday a trade show specific day, or
yeah.
making Sunday a trade show specific day because actually Friday and Saturday are the best attended days.
Hmm.
Um, or like half day Friday or something like that. Or but they also did some things like they had Amber Ruth Barb, I can never say her name correctly, performing one night. They had some
Oh
really
yeah.
amazing, like she performed live.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty amazing.
Hmm.
And they had really, really interesting panel discussions that I didn't get to be a part of because you like after 10 hours you're kind of exhausted and you need to eat and go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh. Hmm.
but what was really, I think, like so the three rooms or four rooms I thought were like really crazy amazing were like in the Matasound room, which everybody knows the website Matasound. They're a vendor. They sell like
Recording in
speaker parts.
progress.
I forgot to hit
Oh,
record. Sorry. Can we just start over? No, I'm joking. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
okay. So in the Matasound room, Matasound sells drivers and speakers, and they sell all sorts of cool stuff. Like you can build whole like really amazing speaker kits like to build speakers. And they had a speaker in there though that they didn't tell you how, they'll sell you the drivers, but they wouldn't sell you the cabinet. But it was like this four-way, super cool speaker with this elliptical um, mid-range driver thing
Okay.
that looked it looked like it was a very cool mid-range driver that was like a domed mid-range, but it was elliptical.
Okay.
Anyway, super complicated speaker. It was like a floor standard four-way. If you were looking to build like a reference monster speaker, this
Hmm.
thing was going to be it. And the cabinet was super cool. And it's like, why aren't y'all should be selling the cabinet too? Because cabinet making is where like don't have so many people don't have cabinet building capacities in their home. So I thought that was pretty cool though, because it sounded amazing, looked amazing. I was all about it. Falcon Acoustics, which everybody knows I have a love for the LS35A speaker, little tiny,
Hmm.
as you guys can see in the corner right there.
Yeah, yeah.
There are them resting um, next to some Legos. Uh, they were finally playing in a set in a room, and they sounded super amazing. And the Falcons are $2,200, which is a pretty wholly reasonable speaker for most people.
Hmm.
Uh, and then Victor Clone or BK Music, who sells the Ellie Kit Pre's,
Oh, those are.
had
I have mine downstairs. Fantastic.
yeah has a new amp kit from Sun Valley coming out, which is a 45.
Oh, okay.
I think it does 45s and 2A3s,
Oh, wow.
and
That'd be kind of cool. That's
that's
unique.
yeah, it's going to be super, super awesome. And I had a really fun conversation in front of Victor. Victor and I are just talking shop for a minute, and this guy's like, what should I get? Da, da, da. And I basically said, I who builds like a more expensive amplifier and whatnot. I was like, look, if you're trying to get the best value for what you're looking to do, this is the thing to buy. And I would buy it with, and the cool thing about the Sun Valley amps is you can get it with Hashimoto transformers, which is a really great transformer house. So the Sun Valley amps, you can get it upgraded with Hashimoto's, which is like one of the best transformers for that type of amp. And it's not super expensive. So for like under 3 grand, you can get this build it your at yourself kit, and you get really exceptionally good transformers. But if you get the stock transformers for $1,000 less, the cool thing about Sun Valley is it's a wholly owned division of Toyota Corporation.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I got a
So you're
Toyota
buying
powering my speakers, yo.
100%. So you're getting an amp built by Toyota.
That's. I mean, they do good stuff. I mean,
Right. So like and they actually the stock transformers actually sound really, really, really good. They're less interesting than Hashimoto's, but they're still made in Japan. They're going to be really exceptional. And so I was like, man, if you pick your speakers right, this is a great choice.
hmm
And just being able to show people like for less than 5 grand, speakers and amp as a solid answer, you
yeah.
know, like, and then add a blue node, the node 2, and you're kind of
You,
done.
yeah. I've been seeing a lot of new things in that realm too that are what was I seeing? The ever sound? Ever it's a new thing. My buddy had it and then somebody else was reading about it. And have you seen these? They're kind of like
Mm-mm.
you know the Rose streamers, right? The Rose
Yep.
streamer. It's
Hmm.
basically like that, but it's like $1,000 cheaper, if not more.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It has like they threw everything in the kitchen sink at this thing. It's crazy. But it's a kind of they do DAX and they do like a streamer. But it's
Hmm.
basically but they literally like they think they have like an Android TV in it. It's like a basically a dual streamer DAC thing like or networks like Rune Ready, that kind of thing. Like it's a streamer, but it has it's just a high end streamer, but it's just way cheaper. So I don't know. My buddy's has it has the DAC version, and he's been loving it. It has the digital touchscreen that you can put VUs on.
Hmm.
I'll send you a link to it later on. Remind me to.
Um, the other two rooms that were like really exceptional that weren't like the rooms I was a part of, obviously, right? Whereas like, um, so LTA, which does OTL amplifiers, I
hmm
guess they're not OTL, but they're Futterman designed amplifiers. Um, was showing with the Pure Audio Project open baffle speakers. So it's like a 15-inch woofer
hmm
with a Voxative 8-inch.
hmm
That is such a good speaker. Like I don't think people give it like enough love or think about it because it doesn't have a box around it, you know?
Well, you have to set it up just right to get it to play nice, right?
Uh, Open baffles play really well almost everywhere. I mean, like I've had open baffles. I think people misunderstand them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's definitively a thing. I mean, that's for real. Like no one it's like it defies what you would think of a speaker, right? Because it's literally
Mhm.
just the front plate there. But yeah, I see
But
it.
yeah, I mean, they do it like really, really, really well, and that's like 6 grand
Yeah.
for a speaker. And in the world of speakers, that's
You
not.
just had Xphoto, man. Like, yeah, you could. So let's talk about the scale of that, right? You could go anywhere from like an LS, like what I have, the LS50s here. I'm sure they had them there. So like a 1500, they probably even cheaper. You probably went to if they had a JBL's place, they probably had some JBLs there, were even cheaper.
They did. Yep.
All the way scaled to like multi-million-dollar rooms
Well, so
for speakers, by the
one of
way.
the so I mean, like the Akora room. So I was presenting with Akora speakers, and I had a
hmm
set of Akora SR QR ones, which were exceptionally good sounding, and then there was the big Akoras, which were like huge. They were filling huge rooms, and those were absolutely impressive.
hmm
And the thing about the big Akoras were like they take a big room, and I mean like an auditorium room, and
hmm
they turn it into headphones
Wow,
for the listener,
that's pretty impressive.
which is. But then, like in the world of like ultra fi, like in that same world, you have like the von Schweikerts, and you
hmm
have the Sonus Fabers, and I
hmm
went into the Sonus Faber. Like I think the most expensive room I went into, and I didn't, I normally am not. Uh, I normally get offended by going into these kinds of rooms, but I was not offended. which means it must have sounded really good.
You paused and
Uh,
waited and wait. How long have I been here for?
it was like the Sonos Faber Grand Olympias, which are
Massive and crazy and yeah.
right. Or, I mean, just the Sonos Faber,
Yeah.
big honking, big beautiful, and it was like a Constellate. No, it was Boulder. It was this Boulder amplifier. I think it was like the size of a Mini Cooper. I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, it was the size of a mini fridge. So it was
Yeah.
like 3 cubic feet on the
Yeah.
floor
I know.
of
Yeah.
extruded aluminum.
I
But
think that's key. Like, so what you're experiencing, like you just said, right? Like, that's for anyone that's never been to like one of these like stereo, like proper stereo shows, right? Like a speaker show, like where they actually have like what Exponent has. It's bananas. Like you go into some of these rooms and you're just like, what? It like the speakers are pieces of art, like these massive like art pieces, and they're like literally some of them are like 14 feet tall plus. Like some of them are, I don't know, like maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, some of them are they're tall, like
the
they're
Sonos Fabers were like 7 feet tall, 8 feet
yeah.
tall,
I
like
think
in
I've
real
seen a
world.
couple that were like 8, 9. Like I've seen one that had like this massive horn, but yeah, they're massive, and they're usually like just works of art as far as like the look of them. And then you get into inside of what's in there. It's a whole nother beast of stuff. But then like you're talking about the amps and like the whole like the actual chain that they have in these rooms is just like
Well, so this Boulder amplifier, which is like cutting edge, the most cutting edge solid state amplifiers that exist, right?
mhm.
It literally was like the size of like a medium sized mini fridge on the floor. I thought it looked like the size of a Mini Cooper, but like just maybe that's an emotional weight to me.
Yeah.
The thing that was sort of more striking though is the stand that it stood on, like that rose it off the floor 4 inches,
Hmm.
followed its exact contour lines, like 3D printed the exact contour lines of the amp itself.
Oh wow.
The stand might have been 5 to 10 grand. The stand was so beautiful.
Yeah, it
The
probably
stand
was.
was just the
That's
stand was
true.
just the stand was just such the stand alone was its own work of art.
Yeah.
And then they were using these like Opus Prime, so transparent audio Opus Prime speaker cables that have these carbon fiber 3D pods that look like alien pods.
Okay.
Like they're like
Hmm.
they have a network inside them, and they're real carbon fiber.
Yeah.
They're a thing. They're a very high end, very specific, very high performance cable. The rack was a double wide rack with all DCS. So it was a DCS stack. So it was the Vivaldi, the Master Clock, the everything,
Yeah.
and then the Boulder Pre, and then it was the biggest turntable I'd ever seen in my life. It was the Clear Audio turntable, straight from Germany. With it stood like 5.5 feet tall, but its counterweight was like at the floor. So the entire weighting mechanism, the drive
Oh,
weight
like a
mechanism.
proper tower style where the all the weights in the bottom.
Well, no, but the weight for the platter was like on a pendulum, went all the way to the floor, and
Oh,
the weights for the counterweights for the platter were
wow.
near the floor.
That's insane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it had a air bearing linear tracking arm on it.
I mean, it's a go figure. They'd over engineer the ever living crap out of that.
Yes, so I mean this was $1 million room,
Yeah.
and it was flawless. I mean, it was an absolutely flawless sound, and it was without complaint. And for the person who can afford it, God bless them, because that was like that. I think that but that didn't discount, like, did I find nearly as compelling experiences when I listened to the Pure Audio Project speakers or when I listened to the Falcons. And I
Mhm.
and I kind of wanted to come back to this point that, like, you can find joy and real absolute, pinnacle enjoyment with different level systems.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it doesn't have to be an expression of dollars spent.
Yeah.
Um, and I sometimes think that people sometimes equate, flagships and dollars spent as being the defining characteristic of performance.
Well, I think there's also I mean, that's part of the hobby, right? Like so every hobby, not just the audiophile hobby, but you have there's different aspects of every hobby, right? So you have, and don't get me wrong, I think there's definitely people that have the money that aren't the way that I'm about to explain it, but that enjoy expensive gear like that, right? But you also have, so I was gonna say, you have the people that are super passionate about the music. Let's just say, right, like they're all about the music first, and then, which as it should be, let's be real, that's why we're here, that's why we dive into this hobby. But they give a rat's ass about the gear at all. Like
Hmm.
they'll listen off of AirPods and be happy, like, but because they're just about the music. And then you have the people that are, I'm going to be super shallow with this, as far as like my explanation. You have the gearheads, you have the, which are all about the gear, less about the music. And then you have the kind of people that are all about like the measurements crowd, right? That's a whole different
Hmm.
group. And then you have the subjective. So let's just say the objective and subjective crowd. Let's say that, makes it a little bit easier. And those two crowds are always going to fight. And then you have and there's always a group though. There's always a relatively small group of people in every hobby that are the big D swingers, right? They don't really know what they're talking about. They really don't know, but they have a lot of money, or they think they're, or they whatever. So they buy the biggest, the best, and then that's it. Like they don't, it's not really, you know what I mean, like they don't have,
Hmm.
so there's that kind of group too. So there's some of those in those, and then it's finding your niche in that realm, or how you maybe being self-aware enough to be able to say, oh yeah, I'm that person, or I fall in this group of the hobby, and you find your tribe, and you know
Hmm.
you do the circle thing, and then be happy.
Well, I mean, and I think that like I'm less critical of people and their tribes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to be shit on by somebody per se,
Yeah.
but like whatever brings you joy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Unless bringing joy is you crapping on somebody, then I'm gonna have umbrage with that. I'm gonna be a little,
mhm.
you know. But yeah, I agree with you though, man. I think that's key. Like, I think the people that will come in and crap on what you just said about the Sonos room, or the Favors,
Mhm.
and be like, well, they're just so expensive, they're not even worth listening to, or they're crap because they're so expensive, or they're so out of. And it's like, well, no, they're they're probably fantastic, like, and just because you can't have it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means you can't have it. And
Mhm.
maybe one day, if you work really hard, or whatever, you can. Like and what your priorities are, right? Like that's at the end of the day. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I'm being weird about it, but I guess I don't know. It's one of those things I always think about, right? Like the hobbies, they tend to devolve so fast sometimes because people want to tribe up, and not just tribe up, but tribe up and like, go to war against the other tribe.
Mhm.
When it's like, hey, let's all
So,
get together and be nice.
so before we get into like things I wanted to share about like amps and sound, because
Uh-huh.
I've been cobbling away in private about some projects. I will say about the tribe up thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Discord or online stuff versus forums. I wanted to bring that up as an
Mm-hmm.
idea.
Oh yeah, that's it's a big
So,
difference. Yeah.
I mean, like I have really enjoyed Discords, but the problem with Discords or like online where it's like actually people talking is people gotta talk regularly, and Discords tend to be this ebb and flow, and many times it's more ebb than flow.
Yeah.
And I also think that you sometimes get people who don't self-moderate well when it's online, when it's like in real time,
Yeah.
because there's no history. The Discord's
Yeah.
really,
Just,
there's no
I mean,
hit.
there technically there is, but it goes by so fast. It's so hard to find it. So once it's gone, it's like it's out of sight, out of mind, and you can forget. Yeah.
Right. And the problem with like sort of that participation is that like there's no history. So like I went looking, like um I have a new turntable. I have a Technics 1210 GR with an Audio Technica OC9 ML. So
Okay.
like a mid-tier moving coil cartridge. And I was trying to think like what's a good loading for the step up transformer I'm using, and it was trying to work through that process, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I did some searching, and I went and I ended up on like Steve Hoffman's site, which I don't know if you know. Steve Hoffman has like a really sort of vinyl dedicated forum,
Mm-hmm.
and like people on there are like smart as fuck when it comes to like
Everything about
vinyl
vinyl.
rate. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
know, like they can be helpful, but like they're also like
So
pretty smart at
overly.
the.
Sorry to interrupt. There's that, like, right? Like, I was watching a video the other day someone shared, and I was like, I couldn't even follow it, man, because it was so over the top, like in depth about the specifics of things I just did not care about. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
which is fine. Like, I know there's plenty of people that do love that stuff, that love getting into the weeds. But like for me, like I'm just like, dude, does it sound good? Does it look good? Like, I'm an average consumer. I'd like what I think of myself, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, ultimately, they gave me the answer I needed, which was like 1 to 10. It's good. That's all you need. That's all you need to know, right? That was
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
answer.
yeah. Like,
But I was, like I have like so I have the Mac OS, and I save like on my start page like all the different forums I'm a member of. So like
mm-hmm,
once a week, once every 2 weeks, I sort of check in and like see what's interesting,
mm-hmm.
And I saw this post that was like, "Hey, can you tell me what the deal is with positive feedback and like are they good publication? Like are they trustworthy as a publication?" Which I thought was sort of like a it's such a basic it was such a basic question. You almost like is someone goading an argument,
Yeah.
right? Like
And goading, that's such a great word. I love that word. Oh, great
like
word.
like it's like read what you want to read,
Yeah.
and you make your own
Yeah.
decisions on whether you think of the publication is or isn't. But anyway, it's sort of like
Be
dove
your
in
own
it,
person. Don't let someone else tell you what to do.
right, but it devolved into people taking sort of different
Oh,
sides on
yeah.
the issue. I ended up chiming in because someone said, "Hey, Amazon has a review coming out."
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to believe it, blah blah blah, and I was like, so I chimed in. I was like, "Look, I gave money to this publication sometimes, but they've reviewed lots of my shit, and I didn't give money when they were reviewing my shit anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
I've given no money to this publication in these 2 points." And then Steve Hoffman, kind of chimed in as like, "I've known both of these publications for 20 years. Y'all are full of shit." Um,
That's
that
awesome.
wouldn't happen, and that doesn't
That doesn't
happen.
happen.
That kind of policing doesn't happen enough on Discords.
No. Discord's Wild West. And so I think the problem with Discord is another problem is it's sorry, I blew in the mic. Discords are yeah.
Blow harder.
Don't make this weird. Don't make this weird.
You opened your mouth. It wasn't me.
um, but like but discords are the Wild West, right? Because of that, right? Like they, especially the big open discords, right? You get these, and it's weird. You get the weird. I call them like the roving, like know-it-alls, or the roving bands of like the people that everyone looks up to or trusts or whatever. And then if they come in and like crap on something, then everybody just craps on it, right? Or like, or vice versa too. Like it turns in these weird circle things that we all love and know. And what I found was I started leaving a bunch of these things, the discords that are like big open ones. And I started, because I just was overwhelmed. There's just too much stuff. I had to, took way too much of my time. I was not creating as much as I wanted to because of these things. Sorry, back on track. What I found though was like the smaller private discords were exponentially better. Problem with that is you're never allowed into these private discords because they're
Mm-hmm.
private discords. And so it's like this weird, like there's all these little gems, but you just
Mm-hmm.
can't get into them because you just can't, it's because it's such a close knit groups that are in these things. And it's weird, man, like because the forum would be the proper way to go. I agree. Like forums are generally, because you have the history, you can roll back. It's easier to find stuff. It's easier to regulate because you have a slower pace because you can take the time to write a comment and like mean it without being like the knee jerk. Like, because by the time, like if you did that on Discord, what you're trying to respond to would be depending
Mm-hmm.
on the day, would be so far gone. Um, and yeah, like I think, but then the forums have their own problems too. Like, because then they actually even more so become a distilled version of that circled, you know,
Mm-hmm.
group, like or the know-it-all roving know-it-alls, or like if there's one or two people that are the main people in those groups on a forum, like anything they say or do is like omni promni, you know, like you can't go against them because then you're gonna get slammed by every other person on that forum. But
Oh
um
no, I mean, I don't think. I guess like my commentary wasn't that there's a perfect answer.
oh,
I
yeah,
guess like
no,
I
I
was sort of
agree.
saying like forum. I'll put it this. Let me say this differently. Forums I like. So let me go through my list.
Yeah.
Steve Hoffman's is pretty cool. Audio Nirvana can be interesting at times. DIY audio is super cool if you need technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The old guard, if you want to learn a lot of stuff about old stuff or old speakers, is Audio Karma.
Oh, okay.
Um, and you kind of got to take the good with the bad on
All
the
of those.
forums.
Mm-hmm.
I think though the forums should be looked at about trying to answer questions or learn something,
Mm-hmm.
where maybe discords are about expressing opinions.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that makes sense too, because that's usually how that works. Because when you do the opinion expressing on a forum, it usually goes sideways real quick. Whereas in Discord, it just turns into the weird little blah, and then someone else will come in, and then ADHD happens, and you're on to the next thing. But yeah, I could dig
Well,
that.
because forums are a repository of information. I mean, like I was on the Klipsch forum, and Klipsch changed corporate ownership,
Mm-hmm.
and they have purged all of their old posts that were not about Klipsch products.
Ooh, that's
Because it used to be like if you were a speaker builder and like built horn speakers, you could post on the Klipsch forum. That don't exist no more. And so, like for 20 years of history, they purged,
yeah.
which hurt everybody's
That's
feelings.
that's no buenos. Let's be real. That's a lot of knowledge. Like let's at the end of the
That's a
day,
lot of
that's a lot of knowledge that they just went.
that's
Nah.
that's not cool. Because it would be one thing if you said we're not going to allow it moving forward, but they like deleted it.
That's which is bananas. Did anyone go in and do like the Wayback Machine for internet? Like you ever seen that where you can go and like try and pull? But
I don't know. I mean,
it
they
sucks.
just oh yeah, because I mean there was cool stuff and people building cool things and finishing in cool ways and like just gone.
Yeah, that sucks. That's no
So
buenos.
but I mean I think that's also like one of those limitations about Discord. It's like you see cool things or you think about cool things. It's like it's a rolling ticker tape. You can't
Yeah,
find it again in
it's,
Discord.
unless you're really good at searching, like, and you have to be very specific in Discord if you want to find. Because I've tried before too. Because I'm like, oh, there's that one thing I wanted, and I'm generally decent to good at searching. Like that was one of my jobs I had in my past life was finding stuff, and yeah, and even I struggle, man. Like it's like you have to be in Discord. Their search engine is not the best for like Like you really need to know exactly the date, the
Hmm.
time, the almost exact words, and if you have all that stuff, you already knew what you're trying to remember anyway. So why would you even look it up? But I don't
Right.
know. Yeah, that's crazy. I agree though. Like I think, um, yeah, the Discord world is, oh man, it gets gnarly fast. Um, and then forums, they're depending on the forum, like you said, like depends on the forum. You can get some really cool forums, or you can get some that just devolve into toxicity, or you get the ones that are like the gated community forums where they can be real not nice to new people.
Hmm.
I don't want to name names, but like I'm sure people could figure that one out real fast. But like, and that's on the subjective and objective side of the house regarding the forums.
Hmm.
But yeah, like There would be so awesome to have a place that was like, I remember I talked to a buddy of mine, and he really hoped to create a forum like that. Like that's what he was trying for one of these that devolved and turned into a not that. But where he was like, he really wanted to build up a forum that was like what you're talking about, which was like all about just knowledge, uh, repository. Now we're talking about weird other stuff. No, but but no, that was jokes aside. That was his goal. Like we really won, and then it just was really hard to get people to stay focused on that because then you get all the people that come in and just ask the same question constantly over and over again about like what's the best headphone for this, and it's like we'll go to that, like it's not the place. But I don't know, it's weird. Like, that would be cool if you could figure out. I guess you'd have to just heavily regulate it. I guess at the end of the day, if you wanted to have something like that, or have people like members of the forum that would or that would do that for you. But anyways, I don't know.
Hard things to ask for people because I mean, ultimately, so much of the hobby comes back to a question of economic incentivization,
Yeah.
and people are either are tied up with their money or their time or their residual value on purchases that they've
Mm-hmm.
made
Oh yeah, yeah. That's another big one.
and
Yep.
and really want to protect things
Mm-hmm.
and people can be keyboard pirates.
I got them keyboard commandos.
Yep. Yeah. And it would be I try harder and harder to be patient and thoughtful with people because the alternative is just being really angry.
True story. True story.
Um, and
Mm-hmm.
it actually helps to just ignore it, uh, because I think most people, what feels very personal and alive at the moment is but like dust and sand in the totality of either the
Everything.
human narrative or even the specific information about a given topic.
Yeah.
If you just think about like how vast, like as an example about like a DAC architecture, you know, like ESS versus Sabre versus R to R, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, um,
We just named 3 tribes right there. They were going to war. Let's go.
well, and it's like the idea that any one of those is the right answer is such an incomplete idea.
Agreed. 100% agree. And the right answer for everyone. Like,
Well,
which
just the
there's
right
those.
answer in general. Like
Yeah.
there's not like
Which you just
there's so
nailed even
many other
better.
factors. There's so
Like,
many other
so many.
so many other factors that like come into play that we that contribute.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, so I think everybody who knows me will say will honor knows that like I have sworn up and down never to buy DACs that don't include Ethernet ports, right?
Yes. Yeah. This. I know this. Yeah.
Okay, I got like two exceptions to that. Now they're expensive and bougie, but that said, the fact that there is exceptions that exist
I got
should
bougie. Here's that video. I got boogers. I got bougie. Bougie.
no, I heard so I've heard the Lampazators and they're just like their Lampazator DACs are insanely good. No doubt. Like they're some of the most amazing things I'd heard. In addition, I got to use in my room though the SW1X DACs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the SW1X stacks also were just so musical. And I gotta say that like tube DACs sound better and don't have Ethernet ports.
Oh, you seem so happy about this, Justin.
It's not. Um, I find that hard to live with. That said, I have to honor that I heard more musical, better sounding DACs, and they did include tubes. Um, and they didn't have Ethernet ports.
My soul, it hurts.
It's not even that I just I don't this shit makes it complicated. But even in its complexity, one has to just honor the fact that it did sound better.
When
Like the
things
shit
sound good,
sounded.
they sound good,
I
right?
don't know if you've heard a tube DAC like an SW1X or a Lampizator, but
I've
they
they
sound
sound good.
stupid.
They sound really good. I haven't only heard it in like a demo scenario at a show, so like I can't really I hate talking on that kind of stuff without, you know what I mean, just because there's so many factors to that. But what I have heard has been, yeah, tits. Um,
I've also, if you want just an interesting comparison, just to show I'm not like, because there are other DACs I really, really enjoy.
uh-huh.
Um, but like the Weiss stack with the de-essing.
Ooh, yeah.
Have you ever heard the demo where they turn off they do de-essing and they turn it on and off? That's an interesting demo too.
Yeah, I think I was in a room that they did that in one of the shows. It was really cool, very cool. Well, actually, so I'm gonna cut back real quick though, just to kind of maybe this will make you feel better. But anytime you wanted to use a tube DAC, couldn't you just plug in your turntable and be happy?
I don't own that much. I mean, I own a lot of records. I don't
Oh,
own
that's
that many
fair.
records.
My record collection is literally like that little blue box that's right there with the shirt on top. Like that's all my records.
Oh no, I mean like I've owned as many as like 1,500 records, but at this point I have 200, 220. But they're actually records I've cleaned and play. But
Yeah.
even that's not enough. I mean, like,
It's not comparative to like say a collection of FLAC files, or even if you're just streaming off of like Qobuz or something. There's a whole ocean of music that you can have access to when you do that. I get it. I agree. I was just trying to make you feel better, maybe by saying analog. But
oh no, I mean like I did I played my Technics table into my Nautilus into a set of HD 800Ss, and I was like, this is some pretty good magic, you know? Yeah, no, that's a solid combination, right? Are those double helixes or what are those?
I don't know. These are from my buddy Ant. Was like, hey, they have this company's making purple cables for HD800s. You should get a set. And I was like, they're cheap. They're like, I think less like there's 50 to 150 to $100 somewhere in that. It was in that range.
Okay,
I can't remember,
cool.
but like, yeah. But I was like, done.
So
Not
like, but
expensive.
turntable into an HD 800S was a
It's an
was a
experience.
was a fantastically good sound, and yeah, I would say it's very similar, but like even my 200 albums I don't own versus my 4,000 albums I have digitally.
Yeah, and that's fair. 100% agree. Like I have these records, but I had exponentially more back in the day before I was even an audio. I wouldn't even call myself an audiophile. I just had I don't know why I had a bunch of records. It was weird, but like, and I got rid of a bunch. But and then I only kept like collector items. But
Mm.
anyways, now I'm rebuilding. I'm rebuilding my collection. I have a bunch, and I'm a part of this lovely Discord, another one of those private ones where they do vinyl club, and
Okay.
so it's kind of like they all chat about like the latest releases on certain jazz albums and what have you, and certain cool albums, and we do like a book club vinyl thing, and it's fantastic. And
That's super cool.
Jay is he's the one that got me into that, and I was like, dude, butter, this is amazing. So
To keep us, we got 15 minutes, so you want to do seven
yeah,
and seven?
I want to do.
Let's,
Yeah, well,
seven and
no,
seven.
actually,
Last two topics.
I want to talk about last topics, but I want you to jump on your up and coming, and maybe some fun stuff. So let's
So
roll.
I'm gonna do the last two topics. I'm gonna hit them in fast order then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So because I'm gonna do mine last then. All right, everybody. Best ultra value products.
Ooh.
Everybody always asks me. Um, so there's a company called Dynakit Parts. Guy named Kevin owns it. Reason why to buy it is if you ever wanted a Dynaco and you wanted to look exactly like the original but be 100% brand new, and we're talking like um, 850 bucks will get you an ST35. I bought one because I just love that. I love that stupid amplifier. I have sentimental value. It was like my first amplifier that I've like
Mm-hmm.
broken and fixed more times than I can count. It has lots of flaws to it, in my opinion, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not meant for consumer use. It looks like a bread box.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
size of a bread box. It's 17 watts EL84s. Um, but if you can get past sort of its 1960s form factor, it's going to give you really amazing sound, 100% brand new. This man packs these kits so well that like you'll never be missing a wrong part. Every resistor comes in its own Ziploc bag with a label in front of it. You do not have to read the
It's like a
stripe
Lego
codes of a
kit.
resistors. Oh, it's better than a Lego kit. I mean, like every resist, like imagine if a Lego kit was like where it said, where it was like a red brick. And it was like red brick, three row red brick
Yeah.
in a Ziploc pouch. It said on the front of it, 3 row red brick.
See page XYZ.
100%.
That's
So
awesome.
it's that well put together. And so Dynakit Parts makes ST35s, ST70s, exact reproductions. And so if you want to be a tube guy on the low buck, or you want to be a build it your own guy, it is a wonderful starting place. Do I think that there are better amplifiers? Of course I do. Do I think mine are better? Of course I do. Do I think that you can get a lot of mileage and joy from this idea? Yes, I do. 100% so.
Sway.
Ellie Kit Prees. I have built more of these for friends than I can count.
Yeah, they're stupid
Tyler
good.
being one of them. I think
I,
Tyler's got a
I
pre built for him.
yeah, it's down to my. It's with the corn skulls. It's actually with that set. So yeah,
The Ellie Kit Pre, I think it's the TU85, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, yeah. TU eighty
TU8500.
five. Yep, 8500. Yep, yep, yep. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
8600 is the bigger one.
is a two tube line stage with a op amp moving op amp bass phono, ultra quiet, does everything you need it to do. It's $600 to $700,
Yeah, stupid good.
and you're going to have a really good free that can be turned into a buffer if you need it
Mm-hmm.
for a solid state amp or with gain for a tube amp. Speaker choices. Now, here's what I got for you: the Omega cams,
Mm.
compact Alnico monitors. Go look them up. They're not expensive.
Omigo
They're under
cameos. Okay.
Omega
Omega
speaker, and I put cameos, but I didn't mean to. But it's
cam.
the cams,
Okay.
compact Alnico monitors,
Nice.
and they're it's either a 6 or 7 inch Alnico driver full range.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a dark speaker. Um, it's super relaxed, but it's the kind of thing where you can listen for really long listening sessions with no fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And his veneer work is so exceptional. So what you're getting is something that's visually stunning, can be used near field or midfield, and you will feel like you own a really expensive heirloom piece of audio gear, really high value proposition, for not for modest money. You're getting a lot of value for it. Comes with grills. If you're going the DIY route, Audio Nirvana, they sell from 8 inch to 15 inch drivers. I've built more Audio Nirvana bass speakers with the 8 inch, the 12 inch, and the 15 inch. I don't love the 15, but the 8 inch and the 12 is amazing. You put it into a 2 cubic foot size cabinet, which is about the size of a Klipsch Heresy size cabinet, and put a 12-inch full range driver, and you're done. No crossover, just some binding posts. So if you know,
Mhm.
go look up the dimensions of a Klipsch Heresy, make that size cabinet, cut a hole in it the size of for the driver for an Audio Nirvana, and you're done. Audio Nirvana 12-inch with a ferrite magnet. I think you get a pair of them for like $600,
Yeah.
and you're done. It's super amazing sounding. One of the very, very best sounds. Matasound sells a speaker called the A25. The A25 is based on the Dynaco A25, which then became the Audio Note AEN.
Hmm.
The Audio Note AEN is like $6,000 to $20,000, depending on how much you want to spend on it. The Matasound is $2,000 with a cabinet.
Oh wow.
It is a Danish speaker. You know, Danish drivers use a resistor. You know, this is with the whole cabinet. It's like the whole enchilada of like it was the start of what Danish speakers were to the Americans, to the Americas.
Hmm.
You know, so go look up the Dynaco A25 or go look up the Matasound A25. Solid, super good value. Now for the high value individuals amongst us, the the uh, the Coors Light drinkers amongst us.
We don't want to touch
Um,
that Bud Light topic at all, huh?
if you can let it drop, you should. Wear your stripes, wherever your stripes are,
Yeah. Okay.
candy or not.
Candy or not? Sorry.
Um, Parts Express sells a speaker called the Overnight Sensation. If you don't know
Hmm.
about it, you're silly. You should go look it up. It's like $120 for the whole kit. If you haven't built one before, if you haven't built people, you should be buying them now in like 2 or 3 packs and selling and building them now and finishing them in different colors and giving them to friends and family as like Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
No, this speaker hammers.
Yeah.
It's a 4-inch magnesium cone woofer and a tweeter. This thing hammers,
Yeah. Magnesium's gonna be
hammers.
fast.
You do not think it will hammer. This thing absolutely hammers.
And that was the uh,
Overnight sensation.
overnight sensation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, 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 yeah.
This is
Yeah. I know. I was a little confused at first. I was kind of like Parts Express overnight sensation. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it just didn't click. You know?
and Parts Express sells you the flat pack where it keys together with glue. All you got to do is put glue together and glue and solder the crossover together. And
Hmm.
if you look online or if you email me and I'm feeling generous, I actually I built the PCB so you could glue the parts to a PCB. There are people on eBay who do it too, but like so you don't even need to know how to read a schematic. You just put the parts on the damn PCB and you're done.
Sorry, these guys are
And
having a hilarious.
then you take double-sided Velcro and then you Velcro the
Yeah.
PCB to the bottom of the inside of the speaker. So you take before you put the woofer in, you put the double-sided Velcro or double-sided self-adhesive tape, and you glue it to the bottom side. Put the crossover inside to the very back of the speaker,
And then
and then you put the woofer in, and then wham bam boom, you're done. It's making music.
that's dope.
It's like $120 kit for both speakers.
That's bananas.
Can't afford that. You do not deserve good speakers.
And then let's be real too. You could probably, if you really wanted to go overboard, because they're pretty decently priced, you could probably build your own, like have someone do like a custom case for these, like a casework for these frame, and then you have something that's even cooler.
No, these are really nicely like this is nice. This is a really nice cabinet. Could you have someone finish it for you? For
Well,
sure.
and that's what I meant. Sorry, like having it, like you could then take some extra cash later down the road and have these like prettified is what I was getting at.
Or I mean, like what people don't know, there's this finishing technique that I was never patient enough to do correctly, but it's called a hand rubbed finish, which is just to
Which is weird.
say,
You'd think you'd be all over this.
I know, you would think. A hand rub finish is just steel wool
Uh-huh.
and basically stain, like lacquer, whatever
Okay.
Minwax
Hmm.
stain stuff you're using, and basically it's finish steel wool of one density. Then you break it down, take the top layer off, getting it smoother,
and then
add
start
another
over.
coat, and when it's done, the hand rub finishes have this like luminescence. They have sort of their own intrinsic
A
kind of glow.
chatoyance.
Yes, so they don't reflect light, or they won't bounce light perfectly off, but they illuminate light.
Yeah, that's sick.
And they, yeah, and basically all you need is steel wool, and you just got to rub it out. You're really good with that, right?
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off.
Right, right. Circular motions, my friend.
It's
Circular
like
motions.
not fast small ones either. We don't want the. That's a different story. You want the nice slow smooth.
And the trick to it is you got to let it dry first.
Yeah, let it dry. You got yeah.
Between coats, got to let
Between
it dry.
coats. You can't don't rush.
All right, we got 3 minutes, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be good. So everybody, in 3 minutes. Hopefully you guys know that I got a burr up my butt and decided to build a big ass amp that was super powerful called the Arches, which is basically a Harman Kardon Citation 2 fed genetic material and steroids. Um, and it's super awesome and is better than the originals because parts selection and transformers are better. And by giving everything more space, it was better. Number two, so Tyler got to see that when left to my own devices, I make silly decisions.
It's a true story. It's a
Um,
true story.
and I was at a trade show in February, and someone basically said, "Hey, you build really great amplifiers. The room sounded great, but your pre sucked ass." And not understanding the preamp that I brought was like my small pre that was intended for helping people in personal audio sort of have a bridge to two channel. It was
Mm-hmm.
meant to be like on your desk, and it, it was about size and form and
Ease of
not drawing
use.
attention
Mm-hmm.
and not drawing attention and was not meant to be ostentatious, right?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's really
And
nice and sleek and whatever. Yeah.
right. And so I felt like someone fisted me a little, um, and hurt my feelings, all two of them.
Then slaps
Um,
you in
so I got pissy pants on the whole issue.
the. And you went the other way,
And
hard.
and I went and I went the other way kind of hard, and threw money and time. And I've been designing this pre for like 2 years, but I kind of went ape shit on it. And I think Tyler would agree that it is bigger than one would have expected it to be.
I mean, I'll give you a clue. You know what a crate comes on. You know the little wood crate things. And you have the little forklift. Yeah, that's how the material, just the casework. Let's just say casework came, right? That's I don't want to give away more than
So,
that, but
well, I mean, I'll be honest. So, like, I I sometimes do things accidentally. I had intended the chassis to be 18 inches by 14, and I knew that it could not exceed 20, and somehow it became 20 by 14. So the pre is 20 by 14 because that's the maximum width a standard rack can accommodate.
mm-hmm.
And so this pre is 20 inches wide by 14. It's essentially a Marantz 7 circuit, which is kind of the most famous pre that exists. So it's a Marantz 7 phono stage independently to a Marantz 7 line stage. We've simplified both. So they're like independent of each other. And everything's like super modular. And so
Mm-hmm.
that you can do like upgrades or servicing of it really very, very independently. And as I was saying, that the whole point of like how we build is many of the things that's strong about amps and sound is sort of execution. It's not that we do things like we don't design computer chips.
Mm-hmm.
We don't throw in computer chips into our designs, but we do things in ways that are very old and require space and time. And so we're willing to donate time and command space. And so this chassis, for right or wrong, is probably the right answer because it gives us the space we need
Would
to give the pre to be wired in the right way for maximum performance.
and I want to touch on something real quick too. Like the other thing I think that you do, I think I mentioned this before, is like one of the things that you guys do. You always hear people like, "Well, I could just build that myself," and I'm always like, "Well, I don't think you can." But like, I mean, you could. The people could potentially, right? Like technically. But the thing that you bring to the table too with a lot of your amps is the polish, the quality of work, the execution of the final product is on such another level that it's just it is. I mean, if you've ever been to a trade show, I mean, anyone that's listening right now, like go check out one of Justin's amps, and you'll be, it's a whole nother beast. Like it's not the same as what you'd get from some of these other places. Something, like a lot of times they're using like off the shelf casework or what have you, and it's just not that.
Well, I mean, and like in my defense or an explanation of that, like I'm a small shop and I I can afford to have done that to buy casework in quantity for one amp,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't afford to do that to buy casework in quantity, to have it either custom or semi-custom for multiple amps.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like I work with a metal shop that builds like they build trailers. That's what they
Mm-hmm.
do. They're an industrial metal shop. They build like trailers and they build lift kits.
Okay.
Like they do
Mm-hmm.
metal kit for like metal work for like lift kits and stuff.
Gotcha.
Um, and they're perfectly fine getting orders from me for ten products and it being four different products or
What?
10 SKUs
Yeah.
or a quantity of 10 but it being four different products.
Yeah.
um
Well,
it
it's
makes
probably
it
fun and different for them too, right? They probably enjoy having something to kind of space out and do something cool and fun on the side too.
what they like is that it's they think of it as artwork.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They
Yeah.
like seeing their stuff become sort of artwork. um and they
Which,
like that it's a small account. And the thing about like small accounts is, or for any business, is you want big accounts and small accounts, because when a big account lets go, you want, sometimes your small accounts can keep you steady.
mm-hmm.
But like I don't get price breaks per se, but I get flexibility.
Yeah. Which is
And
worth it.
ultimately for me, that's what I needed. So
Mm-hmm.
I get to define my casework sort of on my own terms,
And they get to make
but
art.
and they get to make art, but I don't get sort of price breaks because, well, for a few things it's like I'd have to store it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, if you think about like storing 30 chassis times five different models,
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's fairly space intensive. And then you have to be capitalized in a way that like that you're tying up all of your capital, not being able to do other things. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
um, so the other thing to tell you guys, which you might not know, last thing, is when Can Jam comes, there will be a Red October 2 and a Nautilus 2. What's different? Well, there have been quiet upgrades to all of the amps because we believe in sort of the Toyota method of manufacturing, which is to say that there's always successive improvement, in that you always try to find one or two ways to do something better,
Mm-hmm.
more efficiently. We always try to do it better. It's not always just about efficiency. Like there's no, I don't try to cut, we don't try to find ways to save money. We try to find ways to find 1% performance improvements.
Mm-hmm.
That's our shtick. And so like our power supply is sort of in its fifth revision, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I did the arches, which if you guys go to the site, you'll see the arches have fairly, what I think is a cool tube cage.
Mm-hmm.
And those who have picked it up will tell you that it weighs like 20 pounds.
It's a beast.
It's sort of like strong enough that you could throw a bowling ball and the tubes would be okay.
Small child
Well,
climbs on it. Ah.
so the arches are made out of 10 gauge steel plate,
Mm-hmm.
where like all the other amps are made out of 12 gauge. Um, it was more efficient to use the same gauge steel plate because it was like plasma table cutting time versus metal, the cost of the
Cost
metal
metal working.
variance
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
versus resetting the table.
Mm-hmm.
It was cheaper to use the same metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I felt inspired, and one of the things I've had resistance selling into other countries without an integrated tube cage.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be able to sell into other countries. In addition, I actually think that the tube cage is beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's
It's
like
very
this
cool
two
looking.
piece. It's a two piece mesh thing. And what's cool is if you order in custom colors, the custom colors can follow the cage.
Mm-hmm.
So if they red on silver, cage can go red silver too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool. So the transformer covers have gotten taller to accommodate the cages because I don't like sharing this, but the Nautilus has always been able to run KT 150s. I just don't tell you that because I just didn't want to. Um,
I think we did. You did put them in that at Can Jam New York a couple years ago.
I did, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have to broadcast it.
No, that's what you just did. But
Yep. And the Red October. So the long and the short is that the new cages allow for you to run KT 150s and still have a cage on it,
mm-hmm.
or run 300Bs, even big 300Bs, and still have a cage on it.
That's cool.
And it helps demarcate the like what we think of as the most significant stable design changes we've made to the amps that keep that are interesting and cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the last year, all of the amps got extra transformers that we didn't tell people about. So we added we added two extra chokes, so that
Wow.
it became 10 transformers instead of 8. So it's a nice way of being able for someone to be able to go, okay, so this is a Gen 2.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, like it has a visual difference. You can actually tell it's Gen 2
Yep.
because there's a visual difference as well. And that's because the cage in the
Yep.
Transformers box will actually be flush instead of having it be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it was going to be that like the cage would be taller than the transformer cover. Because the Nautilus and the Red October kind of look like a Barracuda. They're like low and flat, and I love that look.
Right.
But the problem with it is that the tubes are taller than the cover, and that would look silly. So I didn't want to do that.
Right. Yeah. That's
All
fair.
right, so that's it on my end, man. Tell me one good thing in your world.
I'm back to it's summer. Summer's happening again, so my sad's going away. So I'm more motivated to keep going.
Uh-huh.
Outside that, no, things are good. Nothing too crazy. I'm working on a couple of different projects.
Is that Mega Man on your arm?
It is Mega
Wait,
Man.
is that Mega Man on your arm?
Yeah, got Mega
You need to
Man,
get him retouched, man.
and
His
Dr.
blaster needs like
Wily. And then I
wait,
got
his blaster needs to get lit up a little bit better.
oh, because he's
The
shooting.
yellow
It's into the
blaster.
elbow. The elbow is always bad. Then that's Samus from Metroid, or that's Samus from Metroid, right there with her suit forming
Mm-hmm.
around her. And then I got it's all video game based on this and then Ninja Gaiden in the back, the old school Ninja Gaiden. And then I got Dr. Wily and stuff. But yeah, one of my video game tattoos. And then the Legend of Zelda with the hearts and stuff. And I have like Demon's Crest and some other stuff there. But things are new. Let's see. Nothing too crazy. I got these things.
Wait, are you running yeah, that's what I thought. I was waiting for you to share. Tell me what's on the ears, man. Are these the new ones?
And they're still burning in, but these are the atrium closed, and they have. I mean, look at that shine on there. But
Stabilized?
they're slimmer. They're sleeker. They're sleeker as far as the shape of the cup to the closed. They're actually smaller, and they're just a little bit sleeker. And they have this really cool butt on them, like the way it kind of bevels out, and like what's that noise? It just started downpouring at my house. It was sunny all day. It was like almost 70. Now it's like downpouring. But these still burning in. And God, love these. They are, how to put it? I'm a bass head at heart. Like I love, So, but these have just a lovely low end to them. They're not overly like the Verite closed, which.
Are they Icon Atticus bass? Or are we talking like what kind of bass are we talking?
Ooh, yeah, I'd say closer to the Icon. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I'd say
real?
closer to the Icon. It's not
That's deep.
quite as it's a little bit lower, but it's not quite there. Like the Icon's still unique there. Like the Icon still has that, but I'd say it's similar to that. Like I would say if you were to take a little bit of the Icon's low end, and then you take the Atrium Opens, like kind of mid range and highs, and kind of shove them together, that's kind of what you get a little bit. So it's not quite the Icon, but it's good. It's real
Mm-hmm.
good. It's addictive as all get out. And I'm still in honeymoon period, so, and they're still breaking in, but like I definitely think that they're fantastic. They've slowly become my number one listened headphone over the past since I've gotten them. But that's to be expected. They're the new
Mm-hmm.
headphones, and then they're gorgeous. Like freaking Zach really. It's funny because he was like, he was at his shop and he was like, "So you're getting these?" And he showed me these wood blocks, and I'm like, "Ah, damn it!" Because he's like, "I saw these and instantly was like, these are yours." And so he sent me the wood blocks before they even had them designed into cups, and then he showed me the pictures, and it was fantastic. Yeah, I was just stoked. But anyways, yeah, loving these. And then I'm doing a couple other things. I posted a video earlier today. The ETA guys. Have you heard of the ETA guys?
Mm-hmm.
ETA Audio.
I saw the post of it. Yep.
Yeah. So I have these in from them, and these are the O2s. And so, oh, this is gonna
It's not
focus.
in focus yet.
There you
There
go.
you go. Yep.
So I just did a little short video on these today, and these are like kind of on ears, and these have like these are actually almost less on ear with the new pads they sent over. They have these other pads that I have. Where did I put them? Oh, they're here. I was like, I know they're right here. But they have these ones that are more like that they come with, which are more like a grotto style. They're,
Mm-hmm.
on ear. But these ones have a little bit more of that. They're a bit wider, a little bit thicker. But anyways, these are TLDR, and I know you got to get going. But TLDR for the O2s are that they are cost Porta Pros if they made a top of the line headphone. That makes sense. Like they just like that's the sound. Like it's like if you took a Cost Porter Pro and then basically turned it into a top of the line sound signature. Um, with
And
like
people love. I mean, people love that goddamn headphone.
yeah, dude, the Costas are fantastic, man. The Porter Pros, like those are I have a set that I carry everywhere with me. Like so, I mean, so these have turned into that like, and they make other versions. They make a semi-close, which is also like similar, very similar, a little bit more low end and stuff, but they're fantastic as well. And it's a bunch of guys that are just love audio, right? And so they love making headphones. And that's what they do. These are all 3D printed with like a carbon fiber like 3D print type deal. So they're 3D
Mm-hmm.
printed. And then they're working on just a small little team of kind of same thing, like small little business. Just they have their real world jobs, and then they do this as a fun side business, and that because they're passionate about it and love it, and yeah, which I totally love. I dig on that stuff, right? But so those are some of the things I'm working on. But yeah, other than that, child, being a 6-year-old, as you know, young daughter, dad life, girl dad life, hashtag. It's the best
Are you
life.
Are you coaching soccer yet?
No, not yet. Well, we have her. She's doing
Yeah, yeah,
soccer, and
yeah, yeah.
she's like, we'll see. I want to get her into martial arts and some other stuff. I want her to do. I don't know how appropriate it is, but like I want to get her into stick and knife fighting, like Filipino stick and knife fighting.
What about Hapkido?
Yeah, I mean any martial arts I would love to, but other one I really like is I'm a big Krav Maga guy, but but I've also loved stick and knife fighting, but there was just never any opportunity for it. And since she's half Filipino, or she's a Filipina girl, so I would thought it'd be cool to have her has that heritage background. So, but other than that, nothing crazy, man. Just life. Life is life. Moving, kind of doing the stuff. And actually, I actually wanted to mention this. I don't know if anybody noticed. But how good does Justin look? You're on a journey. You've been on a massive journey, man. You've been
Yep.
freaking looking. So my buddy sent me a picture of you in the hallway or in the stairwell. And I was like, oh dang, Justin, looking good. He's looking svelte as ever. So, congrats on that, dude. That's awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
hard work. It's not easy. I fully appreciate how hard that is, especially after 40. It just does not. So that's
Yeah,
hard work, and
and 57 pounds down.
that's fantastic. That's huge. It's a lot of hard work, and you're still going too. You're still trying. You're pushing hard towards those last ones.
Oh no, I mean, it'll happen, but I got 25 more to go.
Yeah. Just it's just crazy, man. It's the last like 20 pounds. It seems like the last 20, but the 10 is too. It's like you hit those weird like
Hmm.
plateaus, and it's like, oh god, just go away. Like I'm doing everything, just go away. But anyways, I wanted to jump into the chat real quick because I think they had some
Yeah,
really good comments, and
sure.
someone
Love to
asked.
hear it.
Um, a lot of them are just pretty funny. You guys, the community is so cool here. I love it. I love you guys. Someone jokingly was like, "Can we put the OSs onto a Grotto headband and power them with their Jotunheim?" Sorry, that's funny. I don't think we need to answer that. I mean, technically, sure, you probably could, um, but one of them was really good. It was from Michael Wag. Sorry, I suck at pronouncing names and words, so sorry if I butcher a name or anything like that. But he said it would be awesome for you to do an AMA and ask me anything one of
Sure.
these days. So yeah,
I'm always down for that.
if not on here, maybe we can figure out a way to do it on Reddit too, because that's a big thing on Reddit. But
So I need help with one thing. I
uh
have a Reddit account that I can log into, but I have not reset my password in like 6 years, and so they let me log in, but they won't let me reset my fucking password.
we can figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. We can if you want to do it on Reddit, or we could do it. We can do like a thing where I could be the facilitator for an AMA for you. Maybe we could do that as well.
Well, I
Um,
want to say though, everybody, Tyler and I had wanted to do a talk where we talk like every 3 weeks and
mhm,
wanted to have it be sort of democratized where it's not about amps and sound, just about like audio in general,
mhm.
and would love to hear topics. Like if you enjoy like our perspective or want to hear us talk about things at large, tell us what you want to hear us talk about because
Yeah.
I obviously have definitive opinions. My definitive opinions are not, I would hope in general, not about self promotion, but like really trying to help people get the most enjoyment from their gear or from their experience. And if you guys want to just ask a question or want an idea explored, I think we collectively are interested in doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. Eskrima. Eskrima is badass. And I agree. So back to Justin. Yeah, I think so. Anybody want to ask questions or leave a comment on the video as well, because that's a little bit easier than in the live chat. So when the video's over, go put a comment in there, and we can start doing some topics that way. And kind of make it like a quicker thing too, like kind of maintain like a quicker like topic
Yep.
based chats and make it a little bit more
Because we'd
digestible.
like to get to like either like 30 minutes, 20
Yeah.
minutes where it's like touching on a topic or two. That way people, I
It's
mean,
a little more digestible in the sense of like
yep.
everyone's very and I love that, dude. That's one of the thing I've been trying to do for a while. But yeah, I'm down. We'll have to make that work, and let's plan on that. And then we'll have to get Jay in again once his life settled down. We get some plans with him going because Jay's always fantastic to have on as well. Um,
Yep.
but Jay needs
100%.
to start his own channel. But anyways,
That was brutal. That was piercing.
no, I'm trying to motivate the guy. The dude has some great freaking topics, and he's got a great personality. And I don't need to bogart his time fully. You know what I mean? Like, dude.
Yeah.
But let's see here. So I love the that idea. Oh, Michael asks also, what's in your listening room? So we'll end it on this. Oh, so he also thinks that's a great idea and says thanks for doing this. But so we'll try, we'll push for that. And then he asked though specifically for you, Justin, was what amp do you have in your specific listening room? Because you have multiple listening rooms, but let's say
I do.
your proper listening room, the one you go to just relax and like your, because you have this is your office, but you have
Yep.
your listening room. Let's do both. Let's do
Yep.
both. You can list out what's in your listening room and then what's in your office.
Well, my office is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I don't get to, but the so the problem with everybody's listening room is their room.
Hmm.
Your room is your problem. You know, you are your problem. You are the problem.
Yeah.
Um, so I have a set of Altec 604s that I bought from Great Plains Audio. So they're like reproduction Altec 604s. I'll show you. I'll take the cover off in a second. And the cabinets are what are called Altec 612s. So let's see, let me show you right there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of like low boy cabinets. I love them. They're kind of like my favorite speaker, probably. The fundamental problem with them, though, is they're wide as fuck. And they're really hard to move as one person because they're like 26 inches wide and they're
It's
like
that weird,
100.
awkward.
Yeah,
It's not that they're overly
yeah,
heavy, but they're just that awkward, hard to get a grip on thing.
yes. Without like
Mm-hmm.
sumo carrying
Yeah,
them, they're too heavy. And then I got a set of my braces right there,
with
which are
audiophile
set
weights
up.
on top. It's
Yep. Yeah. And don't knock the weights, man.
I do.
I own a lot of them. They work really. No, see, you don't have the right ones.
I have
So
the
here's the
doorstop ones. I have the
I
Darko
know
ones.
I know you no 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 no. Let me help you. So these are the ones that you want are from Bloomis,
Bloomis. Okay.
right?
Yeah, I like the
The
little
reason why you
rubber.
want these,
Oh, they have the nice
okay,
on the
so
bottom.
the
Yeah.
ones you have from Bloomis versus what you have. Okay, so this is rubber on the edges,
Yeah. Yeah.
but on the bottom it's rubber. The rubber doesn't scuff the finish on any of your gear. The ones you have a
Ooh.
hard plastic because they're
Yeah, it's
from
like a.
Amazon.
Yeah, they have that kind of a
Yeah,
funky. Well, you
yeah,
can see
and
the ridges.
it will scuff and scratch the shit out of your gear finish.
Hmm.
This won't.
That's perfect. Bloomis. There we go. Lesson learned.
And so, it quiets down gear, even though gear shouldn't need to be quieted down. It quiets gear down.
I,
So, I got one of my pre's. I got an Aurelic 2.1 doing my streaming, and that's my system. Reason why I have that the braces um, give every speaker you ever listen to like they go like 10 hertz deeper.
mm-hmm.
And if you run them with KT88s, they're like more holographic. And so these speakers are really, really, they're big and full, and they sound really, they sound like music.
Mm-hmm.
And making them more holographic and deeper sounding makes it even better. The problem is that my office is a converted sun porch, and so I'm surrounded by glass
I
windows
was gonna
on
say
all sides. And so the moment I start cranking on it at any volume, everything goes wrong. So it's moderate listening. Um, the in my music room, I got two systems. So I got a set of Acora QRBs, which are the Acora bookshelves that I
Mm-hmm.
showed in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So those were mine. And those are ScanSpeak Relevator 5 1/4s with a beryllium tweeter, 84 dB efficient, so they're like not efficient at all. And I have them hooked up with my Arch monoblocks. And I have those only with the KT88, so they're 65 watts, not 100 watts.
Mm-hmm.
If they were 150s, it'd be like 100 watts. Um, and so the Arches are really, really low distortion, like stupidly low. And the SRBs are really, really fast and low distortion speakers. And so it's like a really clean sound, right?
Nice.
And so like I'm all about that. It's like a solid idea, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's my pre with the Technics turntable, and it's like, and I'm using cabling. Uh, all the RCAs are world's best audio cables with Canary wire.
Mm-hmm.
Works great. Got no issues. It's all from Amazon, like $30 RCAs. I like them tremendously. They work just right.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not gonna lie, I have a bunch of Amazon RCA cables myself.
try the world's best audio
World's
cable
best.
ones.
Okay.
Oh no,
Fantastic.
they're good. Like real good. And then speaker wire is from Iconoclast. It's their less expensive BAV, which is basically it's blue jean wire. So it's
Mm-hmm.
Belden wire. It's terminated by blue jean cable, but it's with nicer connectors, and it's
Nice.
got Tetraflex on it. Looks nicer. It's like blue jean wire, but better.
Got it. Nice.
And then in that same room, I have another pair of Altec 604s in a slightly bigger cabinet with a Red October.
Which is
And right, and that's a solid good answer for me. And the thing about the Altex is, I had a friend that is a specialist in crossover design, and so they're not like 1960s style Altec crossovers. They're really sophisticated,
Is it like
very
similar to the
modern.
ones that are in like the corn skulls I
Uh-huh.
have? Yeah, which are
Ding 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 ding.
yeah, whole bananas. What you can do with those.
Yep. So, um, 300B amp with some Altec 604s on one end of the spectrum in that room with 8 watts, right? And then you have these small stand mount monitors made of quartz, with beryllium tweeter, with ultra low distortion amplification on the other end of this extreme. And so I like that sort of duality, and that's in my music room.
Fantastic.
That's the get down.
Yeah, there it is. Well, hey, Justin, thank you so much for one explaining your home system, and also just being on here with me and chatting. And we'll do a more specific topic in a couple weeks, and
Yeah.
we'll try and make it like a more condensed thing, and we'll try and make that a norm. And this will be kind of a fun way to chat and catch up and keep a steady flow of information going.
Yeah, I mean, I think 3 weeks from now and half the length would be.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
No,
makes
I
makes
mean, I
makes the
love talking
wives
with you. I don't
happy.
mean it that way.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying, like,
It makes the family happy.
yes.
I fully, yeah. My wife, daughter, back and forth. Yeah.
And if anybody's interested, I will I'm going to assemble the pre later tonight in just the metalwork, and we'll shoot a picture of it later tonight.
Ooh, you
And
throw
we
it up
might
on
make it with
Instagram.
probably, yeah.
You guys are in for a treat. This thing is a beast. So, and that's in a good
It
way. A beast in a good way. So yeah.
well, I mean, you, the fun thing about like smaller companies is it's an expression of one person's ideas rather than by committee.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's either really right or really wrong. Um,
That's fair. That's very fair.
by the way, I'm going to leave you with one parting thought about weight loss or about life in general.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oreo cookies are the most fucked up things. Don't let anybody ever tell you that Oreo cookies are not fucked up and wrong. Did you know that 3 Oreo cookies are 160 calories? 3 fucking cookies are 160 calories. Three, not 6 or 9. 3 fucking cookies.
You gotta get the thin ones. The thin
That
ones.
doesn't matter. What's that shit? So if for you to have any modicum of any interest of eating Oreo cookies because you want to have them in the milk, you have to have 9, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just think about
That's
that,
just a
right?
milkshake, Justin. What are you talking
You just fucked off
about?
500 calories
Yeah.
for
For
9
nothing.
fucking cookies.
Something you probably went, whoop.
The most. So the best answer is to throw that shit away.
Yeah.
Never give yourself the opportunity to even look over the fence.
You know what? One of my weaknesses, I love root beer, especially like old fashioned root beers and sarsaparillas, that kind of stuff. But it's the A&W 0 calorie or any of the Barg 0 calorie ones. Those are my treats to myself every once in a while because they're 0 calories. But I mean, they can't be good for you, so I just assume they're not good for me. But they're 0 calories, so.
You like to put that ice cream in it for that extra cream, don't you?
Oh, I do. Actually, you know what I do? Like one of my favorite treats. So real quick, final aside treat for myself, especially on weekends because I don't really drink on the. But it's a drink. It's a cocktail, and it's you get a bourbon cream and a 0 calorie root beer, and you mix them together into a cocktail, and it's a root beer float, but it's a boozy root beer float. It tastes just like a root beer float.
Okay, now I got to leave you with one. Okay,
Okay.
Bailey's Irish Cream,
Mm-hmm.
mint chip ice cream,
Ooh.
1-for-1 ratio, and a blender.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Oh yeah, I'm a big mint chip guy. I love mint chip. That's one of my favorites.
So you just think about we're laying that down on a Friday night.
Yeah. Throw out some music and we're good. Stare off into space for a while.
100%.
All right, very cool. All right, everyone, thanks for joining. Justin, thank you so much, and we'll catch everybody on the next one. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Bye.